Welcome back to Secrets Behind the Stars, the corner of YouTube where the shine of celebrity meets the pulse of real emotion. If you haven't yet, tap subscribe, hit like, and join our growing community, because what unfolds today is the kind of story that doesn't just trend, it lingers. It began with a poised, deliberate sentence from a woman used to being studied through lenses and headlines, but rarely heard this plainly. In the middle of a glossy fashion magazine interview, under lights designed to flatter and questions meant to glide, Yağmur Yüksel set down a boundary like a line in wet cement. Without a promise for life, there will be no sharing of a home. Love, she insisted, isn't a sprint, it asks for commitment. Nothing about her tone was angry. It was calm, measured, almost protective. She didn't flinch. The interviewer, a veteran accustomed to waltzing past gentle evasions, stalled for a second, surprised by the clarity. In a business where couples are tested in public before they've even agreed on a private rhythm, that one declaration felt like a quiet earthquake. By the time the photo shoot wrapped, the quote was already ricocheting through phones, studios, and living rooms. Producers clipped it for teasers. News sites elevated it to banners. Comment sections roared awake. And, at the center of it all, the name that kept surfacing alongside hers was the man she is so often paired with on screen and in speculation, Baktaş. For weeks, the whispers had grown louder, that Yağmur and Barış had scouts checking out Istanbul apartments, that they were trying a domestic trial, that the lease would be the dress rehearsal before any ring. As the rumor turned from casual chat to near certainty, it became its own character in the story, a phantom new address everyone pretended to have seen. But the interview crushed the assumption with grace. She didn't call anyone out, didn't mock the frenzy. She simply made her position unambiguous, neither trend nor pressure would choreograph her life. "I'm not hiding," she explained with that same serene focus, "but I won't let fashion decide my choices." It wasn't a rejection of love. It was a respect for what she believes love deserves. The immediate response was a nationwide chorus. Some stood and clapped, metaphorically and literally, for her nerve and her principles. Others rolled their eyes, calling it old-fashioned, a nostalgic speech dressed as wisdom. But the noise proved something: nobody felt indifferent. People present during the shoot said the air changed right after her words left the room. It became a place where pretenses evaporated. Even the stylist stopped adjusting hemlines for a moment, letting the sentence settle. Yağmur, who has carried a careful distance around her private life like a soft shawl, looked directly into the interviewer's eyes and spoke as if she were speaking to one person, not an entire nation curious about the latest twist in a relationship they feel invested in. Within an hour, the magazines uploaded a teaser. Within 3 hours, television panels started booking guests. Relationship experts, cultural commentators, retired actors with long memories. And within 6 hours, 1,000 interpretations were colliding. Was this a stand in defense of values that never truly vanished, only went quiet? Or a polite rejection of modern cohabitation as a stepping stone to marriage? Was it both? Or neither? What everyone agreed on: it was rare to hear something this straightforward from someone whose life is so public. Amid the swirl, friends close to the pair, those who have seen them at their most unedited, whispered that the connection between Yağmur and Barış is deep and real. They talk about futures, they talk about work, they talk about rest, and they talk about doing all of it side by side. But they also understand the weight of their schedules, the demands of sets and scripts, the long nights that sometimes melt into dawn on location. If anything, that intensity has made them treat decisions about home as sacred rather than casual. One insider put it simply: he respects her boundary, and he might be closer than anyone thinks to taking the next step, even if timing keeps challenging their best intentions. There was still a feeling that something more should be said, not to keep the fire burning, but to make sure it didn't distort into smoke. After the interview clip detonated online, Yağmur chose not to write a paragraph or a page. She posted one clean line on Instagram, white text over an unfussy background. Staying authentic never goes out of fashion. No tags. No winks. No softening the message with a romantic caption. Just a small, strong sentence that echoed her stance without repeating it. And, because this is the age of instant reaction, the comments poured in. "This is why she's different," wrote one follower. "She doesn't chase attention, attention chases her." Another challenged her, saying, "People change, times change, why cling to rules?" But the most liked reply wasn't argumentative. It was grateful. "Thank you for reminding us that we can still choose how we love." The morning after, the papers dramatized what the internet had already digested. Headlines sharpened her voice into slogans: "No ring, no shared address." Choosing values over the fad of convenience. Boundaries, not trend lines. The discussion stretched beyond entertainment segments into social panels, where the same question returned with fresh angles. Was she defending a timeless idea? Or resisting a world that moves fast on purpose? It didn't matter which camp people joined, the important part was how fully they were engaging with the subject. Later that week, a friend who has known both of them for years offered a perspective that didn't fit neatly into a trending tag. "She's not waiting for a fairy tale," they said. "She wants a life that lasts, not a montage." And he understands that. They're choosing patience over spectacle. It was the first time anyone captured the quiet nucleus inside the storm. This is not about dramatics. It is about endurance. As more clips from the interview rolled out, one passage in particular struck a chord across age groups. She spoke about the way she was raised, not rigidly, but clearly. Love, as she learned it, was expressed in actions, not in address changes made to satisfy curiosity. You don't have to test intimacy by packing moving boxes. You can test it by how you show up every day, by how you talk when no one else is listening, by how you handle difficulty when nobody can applaud. Real love, she said without showing off, is patient. It isn't a gate you rush, it's a threshold you cross with care. That message threaded itself into families and friendships by dinner that night. Mothers quoted her to daughters. Sons asked their fathers what they thought. Group chats stopped being jokes only for a minute, turning into earnest sharing about expectations and hopes, about compromise and conviction. The ongoing chatter about film projects and casting announcements paused to make space for something rarer: reflection. All the while, speculation about what this meant for her and Barış kept rising, like a tide that refuses to recede even when the moon turns away. Some said the vow-protected distance was a hint that a proposal was already on the horizon, the kind of promise that would transform boundaries into beginnings. Others argued that declaring such a stance could push them apart. But the people who have watched them together disagreed. They spoke about the way he talks to her, not theatrically, but attentively. About how she laughs around him, not for a camera, but in that off-guard way friends recognize as real. These aren't delicate glass moments that shatter under scrutiny, they're steady things, day after day things. As for the interviewer, they later admitted in a radio chat that they couldn't remember the last time a celebrity answer caught them so completely. Usually there's a dance, they said. Today, there was a door and a lock, and a key that she holds. That line made its own mini-round online, because it felt like the perfect image, not a wall around her life, but a door with a choice. At Secrets Behind the Stars, we've said it before and we'll say it again, honesty is a rare currency in fame world, and when it appears, everything around it gets clearer. So let us ask you, here and now, do you see patience as power and love? Or do you believe living together is the modern rehearsal for forever? Tell us in the comments, because this isn't only celebrity gossip, it's a mirror to the way we all make promises. Through the second wave of headlines, the couple remained quiet in the best sense of the word. No counter-statement, no performative hug for the cameras, no coy post. But friends noticed the smallest tells. He rescheduled an appearance to meet a family member of hers. She left set earlier than usual on a Friday and was seen leaving a jewelry boutique, not for anything official, just a conversation with a designer about craftsmanship and symbolism. Was it a hint? Maybe. Or maybe two people were doing what couples do when the noise is loud, tuning it out and turning toward each other. Meanwhile, commentators kept weighing in. Sociologists talked about cultural pendulums, about how societies swing from speed to stillness, from immediate to considered, and back again. Therapists said boundaries are an act of love, not distance. A few pundits, predictable as ever, accused her of performative traditionalism. But then a voice that mattered more spoke up. A veteran actress who has seen the industry reinvent itself 3 times over. "We should not make her convictions smaller by calling it old," she said. "We should make our conversations bigger to fit it." Days later, Yağmur offered one more gentle clarification in a follow-up chat, not to add drama but to center the message. "My family understood love in the doing," she said. "You don't need shared walls to know your heart's fit. If something is real, it won't evaporate because you waited. It becomes clearer. No scolding. No righteousness. Just an invitation not to be afraid of time." And so, a single sentence from a fashion interview became a public seminar in values, expectation, and choice. Street vendors debated it while making tea. Drivers argued about it at red lights. Cafe tables filled with soft-voiced agreements and lively disagreements. The legacy of her words is already visible. Couples are talking. People are naming the rules they've been following without ever choosing them. That is not a scandal. That is a service. By week's end, the magazines printed their glossy wrap-ups, beautifully lit spreads, bright headlines, confident conclusions. But offline, something warmer persisted, the image of 2 people who are resisting the race to define themselves with a lease, who are letting meaning arrive dressed as action, not announcement. If anything, their quiet suggests a path forward. Love can be news without becoming noise. Before we close, think of the order of events. She did not expose their private arguments or parade their tenderness for applause. She defended her boundary with respect for the man she loves. He, in turn, did not make a show of pushing back. He let the boundary stand, and he stood with it. In a city where rumors can run faster than taxis, that kind of maturity is almost shocking. So yes, ask what comes next for Yağmur Yüksel and Barış Baktaş. Wonder if a question is being polished, if an answer is being rehearsed, if a date is being circled. Speculate, because that's what we do here. But remember what's already happened. A famous couple has reminded an entire audience that dignity belongs in love, that self-respect is a foundation, not a decoration, and that the loudest statement sometimes arrives in a whispered no to pressure. If this story moved you, if it made you look at your own choices with kinder, steadier eyes, stay with us here at Secrets Behind the Stars. Subscribe, drop a comment, and turn on notifications, because we'll be watching this chapter unfold with the care it deserves. And while we wait, not breathless, but attentive, let's hold on to the line that started it all, not a ban on love, but a blueprint for it. Trends pass. Authenticity lasts. Respect doesn't wilt under time. And in that truth, even without a shared address, a home is already being built.